In late November, MSTY shares hit as high as $46.50. If that's the case, why does Webull show the high being $37.16? Hello my friends, this is Legend. I just wanted to do a little video about the price differences that you may notice. I'm using MSTY as the example. MSTY did just announce their dividends yesterday, and they went X date today, and they will pay out their distributions on Friday. I know if you've purchased your shares toward the upper range of the price for MSTY, and then you look back on your charts with your broker, you may notice that it never really looks like it ever got to that price. Let me just show you what I'm looking at here. All right, so here we are on the Webull chart, and as you can see, right here on, looks around about November the 21st. According to my Webull chart here, it says that the high for the 21st was $37.16. And you can see it at the top of this candle. You can also see it along the top up there at the H where it says $37.16. Was the high that it hit on the November the 21st. But is that actually true as far as in the actual price that you would have had to pay for those shares at that price? Is that true? Well, let's just look at a different chart and check that out. All right, so here we are on the Morningstar chart, and you can see this also on the Yahoo Finance chart. Both of them will show you the actual price of what it was at that time. So as you can see here, if I go to that same date at around that November 20th, 21st date right there, you can see that the high was actually $46.50. If so, why did Webull show it as $37.16? Because this chart here showing, as you can see, it's kind of flat here, shot up, and then came back down. It's been kind of flat, and then it fell a little bit, and overall it's been flat with this pop-up. But when I look at my Webull chart, kind of shows a little bit of a different story, doesn't it? It shows that it's been going from, according to this, around about the $15 all the way up to about $28, almost $29. But our Morningstar chart looks like it was going from about $28 to $29 to right at $30. And like I said, it has pretty much been flat. So why is Webull chart showing that it's been going up? And what happened to this $46.50 high on that 20th or 21st? But as you can see, the high here was $46.50. Webull chart $37.16. So to kind of better explain this, I'm going to take it down to the candle right before today, so we can see what happened when we got paid the distribution. And then you can take that, and when you scale it out over the months, then you can see what has happened and what is happening when we get paid our distribution. Okay, so here we are again back on the Morningstar chart, and as I've got here selected is the 5-day on MSTY. This is the MSTY MSTY YieldMax. As I'm looking at this 5-day, it is showing that it closed yesterday at $30.69, and that is shown in the pop-up box where my cursor is. $30.69 is what it actually closed at yesterday. But when I look at my Webull chart, that 15th, which was yesterday, it's showing a close, which is that C right here, of $28.41. Very different. Why is that? I'll tell you why. It's because we got paid the distribution. And what happens is when we get paid the distribution on the brokerage charts like Webull and such here, the whole graph shifts. It shifts that whole graph. So instead of it being up here where it was, as you can see, I've got this little orange line right here at $30.69, and that's where it closed at. But when the charts got shifted and that opening, because we got paid that $2 and roughly 28 cents, it opened down here. So what happened is everything else gets shifted accordingly. It all gets shifted that amount, and that's the entire graph. So what you can see here is that 30.69. So let's just pull up a calculator here, and if I punch in this $30.69, and then I subtract off what we actually earned in the distribution, was 2.28. Now I'm rounding that up just slightly because it was actually $2.279. So I just rounded it to 2.28. And then what does that equal? $28.41. So let's slide this right over here so we can, well, we'll put it right over here so we can still see that. 28.41. Now I look right here, and what is the close at? Now that close on the Morningstar chart or the Yahoo Finance will show it as $30.69. But the close on the Webull chart shows it as, right there with that C, $28.41. Ah, looky, that's exactly what we calculated, because it originally was $30.69, and then it gets subtracted that $2.28 distribution, and now we're at $28.41, and that's exactly where that one closed. So it shifts that close from that 30.69 to 28.41. Now, that would mean that it could open at that 28.41 the next day. But as I've said in my previous videos, there is the aftermarket and there is pre-market movement as well. So in this case, this one actually opened, and that's right there at that O. It opened at $28.38. So it opened just ever so slightly below the 28.41. It could have opened higher, it could have opened lower. Just depends on the movement before and after the market has closed the previous day. But it did take out that $2.28 out of the price. But these graphs do shift. So when you're looking at a graph on your broker account or Webull or whichever or whatever, a lot of times it will look very different than what is actually happening, right? So in this case, it looks like the high was 37.16, but we know that's not the case. We know that it went as high as $46.50. And that's why if you had purchased your shares at that high, say you were just unlucky and you bought it right at the tip top high, $46.50, and you bought one share, and then you look at your you look at the Webull chart here, and you're looking and well where's $46.50 on this chart? It's nowhere to be found. I mean, 46.50, that's clear up here. Why is the chart different? And that's why. So each time we get paid a distribution, it shifts this chart. And that is why they talk about the NAV. That's the net asset value of the stock. And as that gets adjusted, these charts adjust. So therefore, you see this happening. And that's why you have to make sure you look on a different chart, something like Morningstar chart or Yahoo Finance or some charts like that, because it's going to show you the real price of what it was at that time. Whereas Webull shows you the price, or I guess I could say the adjusted price, right? After the distribution has been paid out. This one just shows that drop because that drop is that distribution being paid out. That's why you see this drop on the Morningstar. That is a set hold price right there, and then they pay out the distribution, and then it drops, right? And it drops by that amount of the distribution. Now, it could, like I said, it could be lower or higher at opening. It all depends on the pre-market and post-market. So I wanted to show you on the Yahoo Finance chart that it is the same as the Morningstar chart. We go right here on this November the 20th right here. And as you can see, it's got a high of $46.50. So you have to make sure that if your broker chart that you're using, in my case, I use Webull, that if it does get shifted like it does on mine, that you're not using that to try to evaluate if it's a good stock to get into or something like that. You have to make sure you do understand that that chart is getting shifted, and you don't see the chart on the Webull chart here, and you just see this thing and it's like, wow, that is a nice slope up, and I'm getting paid distributions. Oh man, this is a win-win. So as long as you understand that and what chart you're looking at, and is it a true price chart, then you're okay, right? You just have to understand that it just depends on the chart and how it's laid out. So always check out like the Yahoo Finance or the Morningstar chart, and that will help clear it up. And as I said here, MSTY, it did pay out that $2 and so $2.2792. So that's the reason I rounded it to $2.28 right there. So again, I just wanted to help clarify that, because if you did buy it above where that high is now, you probably have noticed that. But if you bought it somewhere in the middle here where it's all just kind of going up and down, you might not have noticed. But I just wanted to point that out to you, that when you're evaluating, you may not want to always just use your Webull chart or your broker chart. You may want to use something like Yahoo Finance or the Morningstar chart and actually see what that real stock price movement looks like. So I hope that kind of helped everybody. I know some of you out there who have bought it a little on the high side, and if you've looked at these charts, you may have noticed and wondered, how in the world do I have a stock priced at this average when my chart doesn't even show that it made it that high? So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. I do appreciate everybody who has watched my videos and continue to watch them. If you would, please like, subscribe, and share so we can get this channel growing. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.